Remember this? This is my Compaq portable. So, strange thing. You know, this one, I was in the middle of restoring it. And I put my condo on the market. And around the same time, I bought these. These are the keyboard contact pads that we need to install today. That was back in, was it late August? Or maybe a little later than that. I think it might have been in October, actually. I forget. Anyway. And then a funny thing happened. Well, I was expecting the condo to sit on the market for months before I sell it. So I figured I'd start a project. I ordered the stuff, and wouldn't you know it, it sold in a matter of days. Not weeks, not months, not years. Days. So once I had accepted the offer from the buyer, I had to scramble and put everything aside, pack my crap, get a storage unit, start moving all my stuff into storage. I had to move temporarily into my parents' house while I looked for a new house. And here we are in the new house. In the basement of the new house. Not really a new house anymore. I've been here a month. But finally, after long last, I got my office set up, which is where we'll be doing all of our YouTube computer restoration adventures from here on out. And here we are. Compaq is here. It made the move. The only machine that got damaged in the move, sadly, is one of my most prized Macs, and it was my 575. And the damage was limited to some broken grilling on the side here. But I might be able to find another LC or Performa 575 locally. I think there's somebody trying to sell one. I might go ahead and make them an offer on it. But, you know, and what I'll do is I'll cobble the two together. But this machine, it was packed really well. I don't know how the hell that happened. But I am absolutely infuriated, I will tell you that. Because of all the work I put into it. Oh well. But, hey, the Compaq made the move. And let's get cracking. So what do we got to do? So we have, let's fire it up and I'll show you what the symptom is. And this is totally redundant because most of you already know what's going on here. She takes a while to boot. She's pretty old. 1985. Was that 33 years ago? Yeah, it's a 33-year-old laptop. Laptop, right? No, these fell squarely into the luggable category. They were portable, luggable, transportable, whatever you want to call them. The idea was to build a computer that could be stuffed under an airline seat somehow, and that's what they came up with. People were carrying these things onto planes. I have a gut feeling that if you tried to bring this sucker onto a plane today, you would be promptly arrested. Just a theory. Okay, well, it does boot up, but let's see how many keys work. Let's see. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, nope. 7, 0, dash. Return key doesn't work. Q, W, E, R. But if we go back, some of these keys won't work the second time around. Y, U, yeah. So most of the keys are working today, but tomorrow they won't. And we're going to cure it forever. Okay, how do we do it? Let's take the keyboard back apart again and have a look-see. Now, I know this is a little redundant. Again, the 8-bit guy just made a video doing this exact same repair, but, you know, my timing is often a little off. At least you'll get a second opinion or a second viewpoint from this project. In the meantime, I'm going to be blabbing about my days of computing on a Compaq. So I have the wrong screwdriver. Hold on. So let me tell you about my first time ever seeing a Compaq portable like this one. My uncle was kind of, you know, he's not the brightest, not a bad guy, just not the brightest. He wanted to get a computer. He was like so hell-bent on finding a computer because he wanted to do all the things all the other cool 20-somethings could do with their computers. So he didn't really had any money because he could never hold down a job for longer than 5 minutes. So he, oh, looks like I had put the screws in this bag. Sweet. Oh yeah, production date August 14th, 1985. There you go. Well, anyway, my uncle, you know, you could sell him a solar-powered flashlight, and not one that has batteries inside. I mean, my grandfather used to buy stuff off the television all the time. So basically, we're talking about... So my uncle, you know, he wasn't the brightest. And he didn't know what he was buying when somebody sold him a Compaq portable in 1995. I think he paid like $300 for it, which he probably had to work really hard for because, again, he couldn't keep a job for longer than 5 minutes. So that was probably all the money he had. And he brought it to my grandparents' house where he was living at the time. And, you know, that's... And he's like, he didn't know what to do with it, so he gave it to my grandmother, who had it for a while, and she didn't know what to do. It just sat in her bedroom. I was the only one in the family who knew how to turn the goddamn thing on. And that was only because I was learning how to use DOS at the time, and, you know, so, you know, I really never did much with it because we didn't have any software, and you know, my family wasn't really a computery family. But that poor Compaq, God only knows what happened to it. I think it got thrown away. It was in beautiful shape, too. It was a really sad old machine. But I can redeem myself by restoring this one anyway. So let's take the keyboard apart. Yeah, I only have it held together with a couple of screws. I'm going to take this and we're going to clean the keyboard shell separately. Let's take this all apart here. We're almost there anyway. Look at all the screws. There's like 150 screws holding this thing together. Done. So let's pick these suckers out here. These are these little foam pads. All the foam just disintegrates to nothing, and it's like a little plastic sandwich. There's a there's a little piece of plastic on the back. There's foam, and it's kind of sandwiched together with adhesive. And you know, I'm sure. Ooh, they're just popping all over the place here. Yeah, these are in really bad shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the new ones. Let's make sure they fit first of all. I guess EEV Vlog, 8-Bit Guy is selling these things, but you can buy them directly from the manufacturer. Not that I want to take any business away from him, but you do have choices. A company called TexElect.com sells these pads, and they manufacture them. Apparently they're designed for pairing certain Keytronic keyboards, so that's why they exist. So I want to show you a nice little trick for getting these pads out. Seems to work effectively for me anyway. So what you want to do is with the home row, with the top row, up like this, just take your small flat blade screwdriver. You can even use a pick, it might be better. And just see this corner right here, the bottom right corner of the key housing. Just take your screwdriver and just pop it in there at an angle like that. And they just pop right out like plastic and all. That's all. Really easy to do. Did I get this one? No. There's one. And then you can just dump them onto a little trash bin or something. Just like that. Come on, baby. Now, if you're breaking plastic bits off, you're doing it wrong. Don't do that. I haven't had that happen yet, so. Just forewarning, you know, people sometimes they get overzealous, they put too much pressure, and, you know, they can make a bigger mess than what they started out with. There you go. All right. Now for this demonstration, I'm going to show you once again what the problem, or what's going on here. So, side by side I have a brand new contact pad and an old one. Now these pads are made of foam. One side is plastic, the other side is foil. The foil makes the contact. So when you press the key down, it strikes these two contacts on whichever corresponding key you're trying to hit, and it shorts them out, it creates a keystroke. Here's what's happening. So, when you press down, the pad is supposed to have some give, collapses, and that's what you're feeling when you press the key down. So, it hits, collapses, springs back up. Now here's what's going on with the original ones. So see how it rebounds? This one does not rebound. So this is why you might have a key that works once a day, because by the time it springs back, it could be the next day. Now the other problem is some of the metal is beginning to corrode and or oxidize, and it's turning black or going away completely. See these darker colored ones? That's the metal actually beginning to turn back into to dust. Okay, at this point we're going to clean the keyboard. I'm going to use simple green. I'm going to make sure that thing is totally clean. We're not going to pull the keys out, as I would do on some keyboards. We're just going to leave them in place, clean both sides. That'll wake you up in the morning. This is going to remove any oils and gunk that might be in there. We're going to let it do its thing. We're going to get some hot water here. A hot water tap. And we're going to flush it out. This stuff is corrosive, so we want it to be fully removed from the keyboard. You don't want it sitting in there. We're going to make sure that when we reassemble this thing, it's totally dry. Totally dry. We don't want any water residue, any simple green residue at all. It's not doing a very good job either. Let's try something a little different. Let's try something else. You all know what I'm going to use. Windex. Let's see what that does. And really, you kind of probably should just get in there and take the keys off, but I'd rather not. The thing is, when it comes to old plastics, you know, the least amount of force possible is the best. Because these old plastics get brittle and they can snap with just the slightest provocation. So by ripping these keys off, we're putting ourselves and the plastic at risk. Total annihilation. Not cool. I don't want to run this through the dishwasher either. That is another idea that might not be a bad idea, but I don't want to run through the dishwasher. So what I'm going to do now is I'm probably going to put it by a heat register. And I'm gonna let it bake itself. Yeah, that looks pretty good. The Windex actually didn't do a bad job. It's pretty good. There is some light discoloration on these keys, but we're gonna just leave that be. We're not gonna try to retro-bright it or anything like that. But so what I'm doing is I'm actually drying the keyboard off with a little space heater that I have down here, and hopefully that works effectively. Now, we're going to focus some of our attention on the keyboard PCB, and we're going to clean the contacts with simple rubbing alcohol, nothing fancy. You could use deoxit if you find any heavy corrosion or anything like that, but I don't see any reason to do that. Stuff's expensive, so I'm not going to use it. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Well, what do I know, right? Right? Anyway, okay, so that's all set to go. Once the you don't want to touch these pads with your fingers. You don't want your oils in your hands to get on them. So we'll work the wise on that right there. Yeah. All right, now we're going to focus our attention on this heavily disfigured, poorly hideous. This becomes the machine's foot when you're setting it on a hard surface. So naturally it gets really scuffed up really bad, really easily in fact. So we want to do our best to kind of clean that up. I'm using a magic eraser and rubbing alcohol. Do that. I'm going to put it on my lap. There we go. Alright. You can really dig that magic eraser in there. It becomes basically a light abrasive at that point. And you can really get some of those hard stains and such right out of the plastic that way. Even some light scuff marks too. Look at that. That's looking pretty good overall, I'd say. Alright guys, so here we're going to start putting in our contact pads. Now I've already done 3 of them just to kind of see how they go in. And what I found is that by using a small screwdriver, the same one you pry the old ones out with, and making sure that you tuck in, there's 4 clips that the bottom plastic disc needs to clip into to prevent the disc from falling out of position and creating a permanent short on your keyboard PCB. So you want to tuck the disc into all 4 corners, 2, 3, 4, just like that. You want to hear that click, see? And that way they're not going to fall out. This one appears to be thicker than the others, but I imagine, I mean, these aren't made in a proper factory. These are made by, you know, an enthusiast. So there may be some varying thicknesses, but no, they shouldn't be different. They shouldn't be all that different. As for the longevity of these replacement pads, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, this foam may still deteriorate, just like any other foam. But with any luck, it won't be a problem for any length of time that matters, you know what I mean? So that should do it for those. We didn't come here to install 4. We're going to install all 83 or so. So that'll be fun. It's a very tedious job. But somebody's got to do it. Alright, so we've got all of these pads installed except for one that fell out. And I wanted to show you something that you really need to do. After you do this whole project, you want to kind of tap on each key and make sure none of these fall out. So I had one fall out, and now replace it. And it's pretty much that simple. So remember, if any of them are loose and they come out after it's assembled, they fall out of their plungers, it'll cause a permanently stuck key until you repair the problem. So that's why we want to do this now. Check them for looseness. There we go. Get it all nice and tucked in there. Now, I shouldn't have that problem again. Should be able to hit them pretty hard and none of them should come out. So I think we're good. They all look to be seated properly. This one sits a little bit higher. I've noticed a varying degree of thickness in a lot of these pads. And that's just going to be from the manufacturing. I mean, these are basically handmade, so they're not going to be factory, you know, equivalent, but they're pretty damn close. And they ship you a few extras. I think this is like a 104 key keyboard set, so you don't need that many in an XT keyboard like this one. All right. Let's see what we got. Show me your stuff. 90999 plus equal BQ plus. Okay, good. ASD. Oh, you got caps lock on now. ASD FG HJ KL colon quotation tilde. All right. Slash ZX CVB NM. Good. Print screen. Space. Turn. Backspace. We know backspace works. We know the shift keys work. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Now we got a slash key, Dad. It's got to come back apart again. We got a slash key that just decided it doesn't want to live anymore. The only one? Yeah, it is. But it worked before, now it don't. Now as for the function keys, I don't know. I don't know what the status of those are. Control Alt Delete. We know those work now. But I got a slash key that doesn't work. And so I can't go to like A colon. Oh wait, it works. When it wants to. Ay, caramba. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to fix this problem. And, I think we're going to end the video here. It works only when it wants to. So, okie doke. Thanks for watching. Alright, so what I've done is I've taken some deoxit and I have sprayed the entire surface of the keyboard where all the contact pads are. We're going to let that sit for a sec. Then we're going to flush it off with Radio Shack Electronics Cleaner, which is actually a product of the same manufacturer of Deoxit, and which is CAIG Labs. Just happens to be Radio Shack brand, but this is going to remove any oxidization from the surface of these contact pads, and we just want to make sure that we don't have any more contact issues with this sucker ever again. Okay, let's give it a try. Alright, starting with tab. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, dash. It's going to be the equal sign, backspace. AS, oh, we got caps lock on. AS, ASD, FG, HJ, KL, colon, so semicolon, and an apostrophe. This is going to be that weirdo tick mark. Shift A, okay. Slash, backslash is working. So the key is working now. ZX, CVB, NM, comma, period, forward slash. Try the other shift key, shift A. Okay, working good. Space, space, space. Return. F1. I believe F1 just repeats your last command. PIR. Yeah. F2, we don't know. F3 just types the entire command. And F1 does it one keystroke at a time. F6. These all seem to do something, but I can't really tell because I don't have any way of knowing. I have nothing that on this machine that uses those function keys. Print screen should be the star key on an XT keyboard layout. 1, 2. These keys don't do anything until you hit numlock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or you're in a word processor, so these numerical keys all seem to work. Plus, turn, scroll or break. I think we're good there. 0. And the dot key. Control Alt Delete should restart the machine. That tests our Control Alt and Delete keys. Good there. I think we're in good shape finally, and I can start putting it back together for good.